Now we're getting down closer and closer to the actual meat and the structure of the job itself. We're going to go from the planning section, diving right down into the job analysis. What does the job do? Let's sit down and look at that. The importance of the analysis comes down to the work redesign, the human resource planning. With the person you hire, you want to make sure they can do that job. What kind of training and development are you going to have for that job? And then how are we going to structure the performance appraisal? Typically, a performance appraisal, you'll have the 10 top duties all sitting down listed in your performance appraisal for the supervisor to go back and make sure the employee is doing the work as you go through. And then how would you expect somebody to go through and get hired in that job and then have their career progress in the organization so you can keep them, especially your super shining stars as you go through? And then overall, what is your job evaluation as you go through? The importance of job analysis to line managers, they're the ones responsible to make it happen. A line manager has a direct supervisory oversight of the employees underneath them. You in human resources, you will typically not be a line manager. You're going to be a staff manager. On an org chart, that means a line manager, they have a solid line as it comes down, which shows they're responsible for the people underneath them. A dotted line, like a staff person, like typically HR is, advises the supervisors and the managers as you go through. So job analysis to managers, it gives them detailed information about all the jobs in their work group so they can understand the workflow process. They can understand the requirements to make intelligent hiring, make sure you get the right person in the right place when you hire them initially, and stop trying to have to retrain them as you go through, and responsible for each individual that they perform satisfactorily and they can ensure the work is being done safely. From that analysis, we create a job description as you go through. You want to structure the task, duties, and responsibilities as you go through. The slang in HR is TDRs. As you go through, there should be a balance between the breadth and the specificity as you go through. How broad is a job and how specific are the details you're providing in there? And then also, you need to know really what are the knowledge, skills, and abilities and characteristics that are needed for that job as you go through. It could be anywhere from picking up weight to be able to compute an Excel spreadsheet, making sure you can fill in all the different blanks, how to write a description as to what the duties are for something else as you go through. So you have really a job analysis that leads to the job description and what you need to include the job specifications as you go through. So specifications, what knowledge, talents do they need to have to get the job in that job description? What are the physical characteristics of it to make sure it happens? Do you have to be able to see well? Do you have to carry weight as you go through? Do you need to have training in 4 or 5 specific computer programs to complete the job as you go through? Sometimes you sit down to get the analysis to create all this, you get subject matter experts. You interview people that are actually doing the job, especially your more successful ones. You look at the job incumbent right now, you talk to the supervisors, you go on the social networks, you find other things. You may even interview a customer of all things as to, if we sat down and wanted to hire somebody that's going to go out and talk to you on a regular basis as a marketing rep, what do you think would be some of the best traits? That's a really good question, because that customer may want to have input into that so they can get the right person to talk to them and hear their jargon in the process to create something. This is a map of a social network in an organization. You can see it can be very confusing, but if you start looking at the intersection of the different points over there, you can see who are some of the key points to go through and really interview and find out what's going on in it. A lot of times you sit down and you get different things on your analysis to create that job description. You have a position analysis questionnaire, a PAQ, as you go through, and you want to have information input. What kind of process? How did you arrive at that as you go through? Look at the work output. What did it take to create the work output? What is the relationship to this position, to this position, to this position, to this position? You may want to do a thorough job and interview these people as to what would you expect this person, what kind of questions should they be asking you to make certain they do their job well? What kind of context is it? So you pay attention to all this. You have a full-blown list of questionnaires, and especially on a good incumbent on the job as you go through. What kind of activities, technology, what kind of schedule do they operate in? How is a typical work schedule? What is a non-typical work schedule as you go through? You want to sit down and do time and motion studies. Literally, one time I sat down there and had a UPS driver come walking in and everything else, and somebody was following him, and they had a stopwatch on him, seeing how long it took him to sit down there and get off of the truck and walk the packages into the building and get back on the truck. Did you know a UPS driver, he's supposed to be able to get out, step off the truck with his right foot as he goes through, hold the key to the truck with the teeth up in the right hand with the teeth pointed up with their middle finger as they go through. They're supposed to walk really at 2 steps per second as you go through the process. There's very specific things you're looking for. You may want to adopt time and motion studies as a tool for you to analyze a job. You also have a huge network out there. There's several of them. The most popular one is really the Occupation Information Network. There's a lot of common language in each industry as you go through and helps you identify that as you go through. Also, for job analysis, look at the dynamic part. How has a job changed and evolved over time? Is your current job analysis meeting the needs of the market that you're in? And a lot of times a job is replaced by a gig or a temporary worker as you go through. And the workers, they kind of act as a private contractor as they go through. Sometimes you have employees, you bounce them through the organization and they stay in an area only as the time needs to get that job done before they move on to something different as you go through. Job analysis needs a job description with job specifications as you go through. It's HR's work to discover all the details about the customer, and your customer at this point is not necessarily an external customer, but rather the internal customers. What do they want in the job? And use different kind of tools as you go through, such as time and motion studies, ONET, a position analysis questionnaire, and so on as you go through. Take care.